Oh, hello all. 10 o'clock UK time. Thought I'd come on, second stream. I've had a great day and I've got something lined up there ready to go. But I was just, when you have one of those days, and I was thinking, and I've been watching YouTube for half an hour to chill out. And I was watching Daniel Cormier and Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. And I was thinking back to when I was a kid, and my dad was such a sports fan. He was so. I grew up with boxing. Getting told stories about Max Schmeling and Rocky Marciano and Archie Moore and the heavyweights, and when Muhammad Ali came to my town, and I grew up being taught about footballers, and when the Olympics was on, we used to get up. My dad used to get up and watch the Olympics, and everything was around. With the advent of the internet, everything's accessible. But and I started thinking, in the UK, like I love movies, right? So we had. It's like a film on Monday night things. Like Film 81. It was a Barry Norman, and it was great because I would listen to what his movie recommendations were. And we had, like, for soccer, we had Match of the Day, and we had Grandstand and Football Focus, and we used to have the wrestling on before that on ITV, with the Sugar Big Daddy and all that, and Giant Haystacks and all those things, Pat Roach, all those guys. Never a huge wrestling fan, but it was great. It was entertainment. It was part of being a kid. So I was just flicking through YouTube tonight, and it just reminded me that whilst YouTube is phenomenal in its ability for you to, and the internet in general, to tap into something and bring it up instantly, I still had it as a kid. We only had 3 channels, then there was 4. And BBC Two used to finish at The Girl on the Calendar, and used to finish early. And those Monday night movies, horror nights with the Hammer House of Horrors and stuff. So I look back at it and think I didn't miss that much, and everything I had was treasured much more because you had to make the most of it while it was on. So when the Olympics were on, you made the most of everything because there wasn't another 77 track events that year, which the BBC would cover, which would be on YouTube, which would be on TNT Sports, which would be on ESPN, or be any multiple streaming platforms. Whilst you've got access, I'm not sure there's been a dilution. And I was thinking, okay, I'm going to go on stream, but I wanted to just remember that the internet isn't everything. Whilst it's important and I can do this and I'm going to love it, it literally isn't everything, and it never was. It never should be. But I'm going to make the most of streaming. And I've kind of looked through things I want to talk about, and I like watching the American news. Why? Because, well, okay, I'll give you my thoughts on that later, but let's just catch up. This is Fox News, and what's the title of the what they've given us? Obama working to undermine Trump with support rising for Dems. Support rising for Dems. Okay, so let's see what that's all about then. And again, I'm watching it, and I'm just giving my thoughts as a Brit for you guys, if you're Brits, American, or whatever, just to tell me what you think. Here we go.
Party to change course as Democrats struggle to recover from their election loss to President Trump.
The Democrats don't have a messaging problem. There's a results problem. The Democrats have to deliver results and stop being the party of no and slow and start being the party of yes and now, because the frustration that people have, it is real. It is real when people are saying that, you know what, I feel like my life situation has not changed. And so people are looking at all these things and saying, I'm done with all of you.
Yep.
Gloria Romero is a former Democrat leader of the California State Senate. She joins me now. Gloria, great to see you as always.
It's happening over here as well. So we've got 3-party politics, but only really 2. Now there's going to be a 4th with Advance UK, but again, at this moment, it's kind of a uni-party. The Lib Dems threw a spanner in the works when they had to have a coalition to get majority of the Conservatives. That was a few years back. But essentially, in essence, it's always been 2 parties with lots of fringe. And yes, we've got the Scottish National Party, we've got the Ulster Unionists who form part of that, and they can form political blocs. But essentially, when when one party wins and they win well, they don't need anyone else. It's the same over there. So I'd be interested to see what they say. Let's listen to that again, because it was kind of confusing what he said.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore calling on his party to change course as Democrats struggle to recover from their election loss to President Trump.
The Democrats don't have a messaging problem. There's a results problem. The Democrats have to deliver results.
But your messaging gets you results. So the Democrats don't have a messaging problem, they have a results problem. Doesn't make any sense. Unless, let's hear what the rest has got to say. Because if your message is not getting you the results, then the message is the problem, not the results. The results are an outcome, and yes, it's a problem if you lose and lose badly. But I don't understand that. Maybe that's their messaging problem that I don't understand, and I'm looking for meaning.
And stop being the party of no and slow and start being the party of yes and now. Because the frustration that people have, it is real. It is real when people are saying that, you know what,
just sound bites. No and slow. I know they've only got minutes to get across, but that doesn't mean anything to me. And even as an outside observer, it doesn't mean anything to me. I don't understand that. I really don't. Let's put my chat up. Yeah. I don't understand that at all. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Let me just bring the source up. Yeah. It makes no sense. If there's a messaging problem, there's a messaging problem. Okay.
I feel like my life situation has not changed. And so people are looking at all these things and saying, I'm done with all of you.
Yeah.
Gloria Romero is a former Democrat leader of the California State Senate. She joins.
So when he says people are looking at that and saying, I'm done with all of you, what he's saying is Democrats are looking at that and saying, I'm not bothering with Democrats. I'm not going to vote GOP. I might vote independent, but I'm done with Democrats. We're saying. Same here when people have said, when Labour got in here, it was because people were done with conservatism. And if you're thirsty in the desert and someone can offer you a drink, you'll just take it. Yeah, even if it's sludge water, which has turned out to be fair.
Now, Gloria, great to see you as always. Do you agree with the governor of Maryland there?
Well, I agree that it is a messaging problem and a results problem.
Yes.
We've already known
Yes.
that is the legacy of the Democratic Party. And it's interesting that the governor, even while saying that, he is still saying no to President Trump and the bringing in of the National Guard to act.
Exactly. Well, the messaging is the problem, not that gives you the bad results. I think she's been a bit more honest here. Who's she? Gloria Romero, former California Democratic State Senate leader. So that's like your local state, right? Not federal. Okay.
Actually get results done.
I think that's a really interesting point because everybody agrees that Wes Moore is extremely well-spoken. He is a very good politician and a very good communicator, and that's why people are thinking about him as potentially the next big Democrat in the Democrat Party, the next big guy who could potentially run for president coming up in the future. But to your point, if you don't accept the president's help and you don't follow through with the things that he is doing to help the overall American people, what good are all those words? Getting back to what Wes Moore said, though, he said it's more of a results problem than a messaging problem. I'm going to throw two more at you here, Gloria. Doesn't it also have to do with the fact that the far left positions that the Democrats take are not what the American people want? And doesn't it also have to do with Democrats' lack of authenticity when they go out there and try to talk normally to the American people?
And didn't he just say, we're tired of the message, so we're out? So he's asking, yeah. That governor, he said, people are not tired of the message, they're tired of the results, but they're tired of the message, so they're out. So they're out because of the far left, radical left, whatever you want to call it, left of left. Okay.
Absolutely. And we just heard just a couple of days ago that the Democratic Party is now launching what they call SAM.
She hasn't got a nose ring or she doesn't wear the glasses. I like this one.
speaking with American males. Remember a few years ago, we had the life of Julia targeted to women. And basically the Democrats said, just marry the state and you'll be okay. So now they're playing the Sam card and basically saying nothing positive. They're just basically trying to scare American men that they cannot allegedly afford a bottle of beer. That is the message this Labor Day to American men. Well, let's not be shocked when we find out that that message is going to fail again. The Democratic Party has not achieved results, and in large part because they have essentially.
They should have given her some of that 20 million. You know, that 20 million they spent on what's the messaging to men. That, I can agree. I don't know what her policies are. She's simply speaking about things that haven't worked. I don't know what she do to counteract it, but yeah, I like what she's saying. I don't normally see this on Fox, by the way. I don't think I'd get this on CNN. I drift around the channels around the world on different news networks, not just CNN. I go to Fox. I'll go and listen to commentary from Jimmy Dore. I'll go and listen to commentary even now from TYT, just because I want to see what they're about more. So yeah, I like this.
Alienated half of the American people. They have claimed masculinity to be toxic. They have basically said and vilified American men.
She's a Republican. She has to be, right? Oh, she's doing a very good job of saying the Republicans are right. I like, well, what's her message? Well, tell me more about her in the comments.
And American workers and what anybody wants. But I'm going to highlight men in particular because that ad was focused on men. They basically have vilified males by what? Telling them that they need tampons in their bathrooms. They need to transition, of course, to being a female. And according to a recent DNC vice chair, he was telling young men that basically young men just want to party.
So she's not a Democrat because she's too on point. No wonder she's former California Democrat and a state Senate leader, so I suspect she had some political power. Why is she a former? Did she resign? What happened? Because she's bang on point. She's beaten the Republicans. Any Republican commentator is going to go, oh, well, I can't have her on the show because she's just going to agree with me. Yeah, and there's no click in that, maybe.
And get laid. That is the message to American men still on this Labor Day, and it's going to fail again. They can play it again with Sam this time, but we shouldn't be shocked when they
Movie
fail
reference.
again.
If they just be normal. Like, if you're just normal, you will win elections, but they can't seem to do that. They're trying to do something else to win elections. Get the big guy, former President Barack Obama, the other big guy, not Joe Biden, former President Barack Obama, reportedly trying to help the Dems behind the scenes by...
He snuck that one in, didn't he, the big guy? Ha! She kind of smiled at that. I'm not sure she went all the way.
boosting rising stars like New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani and Texas State Representative James Tellerico. What does that tell you, Gloria, that they're going back to the past, going back to their guy, Barack Obama?
Well, it shows that there is no bench. There is no future. I have maintained, Todd, that the Democratic Party isn't just collapsing. It has collapsed. It is like gone with the wind. It will now be forevermore a party of the past, and it's not going to be resuscitated. The fact that they're bringing out Barack Obama, and I do applaud him for speaking out on fatherhood and support for males. But the rest of the message, though, it doesn't correspond with outcomes. And supporting a failed far left of center candidate for New York City, that is not the way that we're going to win the rest of the country. This is a country that believes in America. We believe in liberty and freedom. We believe in the rights of individuals and a strong economy coupled with strong leaders, whether
She would get crucified by the left, wouldn't she? Because she's speaking too much sense. I like this lady. Now, I don't know what her policies would be, but I suspect they're going to be more just left of centre. I think they're going to be more old school economic socialism, but more grounded in reality. They're going to be about raising up the working class, protecting the workers' rights, even law and order. Yeah, not getting involved in national wars, which seems to be a right of centre thing now, because that's where Trump's took them, the new GOP, the new Republican Party.
Male or female, the American people are not afraid of strength. And
Nope.
President Obama, unfortunately, is showcasing some of the weakest of the weak, and it's not going to work. It will
Nope.
fail again.
I also wonder if Obama is as influential as the Democrats think he is, because let's face it, he did somewhat stump for Kamala Harris, and we saw how that went. Gloria Romero, thanks for your time. Thanks for getting up with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our...
Fox need to get her on their little panel of reasonable lefties and not bringing on lunatics to be sort of mocked and make it a sort of showcase television. Does she have a podcast or anything? I'd like to hear more about it, because I'm not, this is going to sound odd. I'm not apolitical. I can take a stand. But during the elections, when Labour got elected, I said to my brother, because Labour's our sort of left wing, if you like. It's not really. It's a right wing, left wing. It's part of the Uni Party. It's got more radical, and it was trying to clear out the radicals, but it's just that bad. And I said to him, look, they've won. What I hope they don't do is cripple the working man, cripple the poor even more. Turns out that's what they're going to do. They inherited a bad economy and stuff, but it has no spokespeople that can go on television and talk and capture your attention. It just has that standard rage bait stuff. She was good. So what else did I want to look at today? This is a TV show from the UK, and I'm going to turn the volume down because I don't want it to get acclaimed. It's called The Crow Girl. Yeah, and hopefully...
Find another.
Yeah. So there's 3 convergent storylines. It's set in the UK. I'm not quite sure where, actually. I can't remember. And that actress there, she was on a show called Torchwood, and I've seen her in something else in 2009. She's really good. And this is such a dark subject matter, this story. I'm not going to no spoiler alerts, but this captivated me enough to watch 6 episodes in one night. It was kind of, it's kind of like, it was definitely horrifically dark. It was definitely unsettling. 3 convergent storylines, great character acting. Yeah, see what she says here. She's great. Whoever plays Dr. Craven. I think she's in a new show called In Flight. He was brilliant. Without being... So the opening of the show really revolves around bodies turning up in public out of a suitcase. 1, then 2, and then more, then the story begins. She's brought in to investigate it, because that's her team. She's got her characters around her supporting cast, her in the show, the other police officers. She's linked. The psychiatrist seems to be incidental. The main storyline drifts. You think it's drifting, but it doesn't. It converges again. There's no tangents that go off and you think, oh God, they've done it again. It's just beautifully acted, beautifully scripted. And if you guys have got Paramount and it's my American friends, any Brits that watch it, any American friends or American viewers, British viewers, go watch this, because there's going to be a season 2 and I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait. There was another one in the UK called Department Q, which I really enjoyed, set in Scotland. This has everything. And she's not some boss lady girl. She's flawed. There's men in the show. There's women in the show. There's no sexual connotation as such. There's no interrelationships with the characters. It's just pure thriller. And it's absolutely refreshingly good. So any of my American friends that view this, it's early in my days on Kick, so maybe you might view it later on when I've got my 50,000 followers. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend this. Right, let's catch up on what else has been going on in the world. Just watch that. Right. I seen this, and I don't know what he's going to talk about, but I like this guy, modernity. I like him. And I'm thinking he's going to be talking about the police, but I saw it, and he's not normally clickbaity. He normally, when it says it's beyond outrageous, then it is outrageous. Yeah? So I want to see what he's talking about.
Weeks after Starmer basically laughed at Vance and Trump for suggesting the UK doesn't have free speech.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time here. So.
Starmer's goons are now arresting all the migrant hotel protest leaders.
But it looks like the police are trying to cause a scene. Look at that! Look what they're doing! Look what the police are doing! What are they doing?
What are you under arrest for, Callum? Callum is now under arrest for inciting racial hatred. Yeah, we'll stand back.
And today, more evidence.
Let's see what happens to them in the courts. I don't know the full story, so I'm not going to comment. She clearly, when you look at it, whether it's right or wrong, she kind of knew she was going to get arrested. I think some people are going to position themselves because they feel so strongly that they'll take it to the edge. But inciting racial hatred can carry some weight in prison. Let's see. Let's get this back up there, guys.
Evidence of precisely why they're protesting in the first place. Asylum seekers given £300,000 townhouses rent-free while struggling locals can't get on the property ladder, with a rental value of £1,200 a month. The houses, paid for by the government with my tax money, include ensuite bedrooms, electric vehicle charging points and underfloor heating, located in a nice village in Suffolk, which won't be nice for much longer. A councillor claimed that the local community had responded very positively to illegals being gifted 300k houses while they can barely afford to pay the rent. Very positively, really.
Who's getting the rent money? Because I've talked about this before. The Circle, there's new contracts being offered out because they're going to run out of housing in the UK. And this is just a fact. So when they run out of hotels, they're going to need to go into houses. And there's certainly out there, Circle been putting out there in local authority areas that they're willing to offer 4 to 5 year contracts, 25, 35% above the sort of rate to secure that property. They'll take it over. You'll get it back in the same condition you gave it over, and you're guaranteed rent money. So that £1,200 a month isn't probably going to be £1,200. It's going to be more like £1,600 a month that's being paid out. And I said I struggled. Whilst I wouldn't take it if it was offered to me, if I was in a precarious financial situation, and people can get mad at me and say, "Oh, you're not a patriot, Alan. You know, you would give it up for the dollar. You would sell your soul for £1." What I said was, I was honest. I would struggle with it. I'm not going to put my house up for rent. I'm not going to move out of it. But if I had to, and somebody said, we can give you a third more than you would get on the open market, and we can guarantee it for 5 years, and you'll get your house back in exactly the same condition you gave it to us, I don't know. I'd be struggling. Yeah.
Then why in the report can they only name one stupid woman responding very positively, while every single other resident was furious? It's all just happened without us knowing about it. Our opinions don't seem to count. There's people working hard to...
Because they have to create a narrative which says everyone really loves it. It doesn't matter if everyone doesn't love it. And clearly now, if you're watching world news, there's going to be a building consensus in this country that's going to be national. And I'll come on to what I think's going to be interesting. There's a young man called Lander. He does some great stuff, and I'll dig his out for the next one. No, I'll tell about it now. In a world where everything is racist and everything is based on identity politics, which we all know, it goes back to identity politics, what it causes, untold carnage. I noticed today there was a lot of, and there's something called Raise the Flag that's happening in the UK at the moment. It's a movement about raising the flag, which is a subtext for really about celebrating English identity. What I saw today was multiple short clip videos with huge views from 20 to 30-year-old black English patriots. Now what's going to happen is anything that kept those two communities apart, either by reality or by fabricated mainstream media or by geography or just by culture or whatever, when you find one common piece of ground where you can go, I tell you what, it's like the Christmas Day truce between the Germans and the British when they played a game of football. You're going to get a truce that might last forever, hopefully, where they'll go, maybe we've been told a lot of stuff that we can just set that aside. I'm with you on the flag raising, I'm with you on immigration, I'm with you on, and then suddenly you'll think, well, hang on a minute. All those things we're together on, they've been said we're drawn apart. I think you're going to see some unifying here amongst communities that the government won't like, because its job is to keep us separate. Any government is a job to keep everybody in factions that they can control. If you've got one group of people, the government only has to focus on one group of people. If you get 5 groups who join together and there's an homogeny that they've suddenly got to control so many people, when things start to unify like that, I genuinely think it's going to happen. I genuinely believe that, and I hope it does, regardless of what the outcome is. Anything that can unify communities that shouldn't be divided on everything. They can be divided on some things, of course, but they shouldn't be divided on patriotism. They shouldn't be divided on wanting to be treated better, to get fair options in the workplace. I think this is going to be a unifier, and we're seeing the start of it. Slight detraction here, guys.
To try to get on the property ladder and they're not considered. We're paying for all of this. Why are we working hard for asylum seekers just to get everything for free? There are people born in this country that pay taxes who can't get housing. The worst thing is none of us knew. We've been kept in the dark. And this is them responding very positively. You hear the news and think this is in the towns and cities, but now it's hitting home. It's right next door. There's a lot of teenagers in the village.
Joiner, Dylan Kasuru. It's not an English name. That's a Nigerian guy. Yeah. Or Ghanaian or African English. But certainly, it's not an atypical surname for an English. It doesn't look Polish. Yeah.
You might like the opportunity to buy a place here, so for housing like that to be let out to asylum seekers paid for by taxpayers is unbelievable. Another attack the government for giving migrants everything for free. Wow. So positive. This is a bigger scandal than the hotels. 40% of young people in Britain can't even afford to buy a house in a ghetto, while people who rocked up...
It's been that way for a long time. Studies in the last 10 years have shown that the average age of young men leaving home and women is going up and up and up and up. I think it's about 28 now. I remember, and I could Google it, but it doesn't need to be 100% accurate. My timeline is relatively okay. I think in the 90s it was about 24. Now it's 28. So how long it is, and then if it's 28 on average, that means you've got 35-year-old men living at home because they can't get out. And I don't mean because they haven't got a job, because they just can't afford to buy where they live. So to correlate those two together is not necessarily fair, but it's going to add weight as it goes on. So in other words, it's going to be exacerbated. The less housing there is, the harder it's going to be get. But it's been a huge problem for such a long time.
Up on a boat 5 minutes ago, I handed the keys to brand new pads, while the government literally admits the rights of illegals trump those of citizens.
Your lawyers, under your guidance, have said in terms that the rights of asylum seekers are more important than the rights of local people in Epping Forest. Would you at least acknowledge that that is what they will hear? And it's up to you. Ministers can say, we agree with that, or we don't agree with it. You can't simply say, let's balance things. Do you agree with what your lawyers said, or don't you?
Yes, of course we do.
Earlier this year, it emerged Serco, the government, was...
He clipped that. I think he clipped it because it's right. So basically, Epping is a town, Essex, and I've talked about this the other day because I'm convinced, and I'll say it again because I'm just convinced, and I couldn't find it, but it's out there. There was an order there. we have your First Amendment orders, and we picked up on that in the UK. And there's a guy called DJ Audit, and I'm pretty sure it's him, that he went to a hotel and showed them planning permission and said, you can't do this. You can't be close to the public and still call yourself a hotel. So what are you? You haven't got planning permission to be this dwelling that you are. And it was, well, yeah, get out, police, arrest you. And then this was a couple of years ago, I think I saw this. And now that's what was challenged. And the government's won its right to appeal to the High Court to say, and one of the things they said was the rights of migrants outweigh the needs of the local. But I can't swear by that what was said, but that's what's been quoted online, and you can see the broadcaster saying it there. So yeah, all of this about the cost of housing and the rent money being given away, they're all important, but they're not the real issue. And everyone knows what the real issue is.
Was offering private landlords 5 years
to the consensus, to the population that's growing. They've got a Tommy Robinson organised sort of English patriotism march next on the 13th in London. I think there's going to be over 1 million people there. I think the world's going to be shocked at just how many people turn up.
year guaranteed full deals to rent to migrants. This included free property management, full repair and maintenance, plus utility bills. The government's also cut in 7-year deals with hotel owners for them to house migrants. All expenses paid. I think we've found the one breed of landlords who shitlibs refuse to condemn as greedy grifters for blocking them from getting on the property ladder. Funny that, isn't it? Given all this, it's no surprise that people living in the areas where the...
That was brilliant. That's why I like watching him. I don't watch him all the time because I don't want to be sort of dragged into a cycle of pessimism, even though it's justified. He's saying, okay, so the rage against the patriarchy, against capitalism, is actually something they're going to use in their favour now and say, oh yes, it's the right thing to do to pay exorbitant amounts of money to hotel chains. Yeah, even things like the Holiday Inn at Heathrow Airport, which is a huge chain, and Heathrow Airport wouldn't be struggling. So imagine how much money they're getting to have a big international hotel, 435 rooms, fully booked, paid for by the government, when they would have been fully booked or at least on 80% occupancy all the time with nights going out. So they will already be making money. The amount of money they must be making to do that. Or maybe they're in trouble all over the country. Because the same holiday is the one in Manchester where I used to work near, and when I used to go down and visit my head offices, I'd stay in that hotel because it was literally like a 500-yard walk to the offices where I'd have meetings. That's shut, and the next available hotel was 4 miles from where I used to work, and there used to be 3 or 4 that were within half a mile that I could walk. They're gone. So yeah, the amount of money. But again, as a business owner, I'd be lying if I said I would think, oh, hang on a minute. But none of the staff are kept. They're all booted out, all the staff are laid off. Some are kept, but not all. And it's all replaced by Serco security staff. And Serco will be making a lot of money off this. Serco's a whole new ballgame. There's a lot of stuff about Serco online. Good or bad or indifferent. I just know there's a lot of stuff out there challenging their capacity to deliver the contracts that they say they've took. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it's out there.
Migrants are being dumped and now refusing to pay their council tax.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we stand here today as proud English men and women, steadfast in our resolve to uphold our constitutional and common law rights as subjects of this great nation, England. These rights...
We don't have any constitution. We don't even have a Bill of Rights.
Enshrined by our own English Convention Parliament and safeguarded by the English Bill of Rights. Inclusion
not real.
Supremacy
Not that sense.
That no foreign court or convention can override.
Yeah.
We assert our fundamental right to protest peacefully, a right woven into the fabric of our history. From the peasants' revolt started in
We have the right to protest, but the police can just declare that area a no-go zone and move you where it doesn't matter anymore. They can see you can still protest about this hotel, but you can protest 2 miles away in a field. That's all they'll do, and they'll keep doing that.
To Peterloo, Manchester. The people of Essex once repelled a Napoleon.
Peterloo was in 1819, and you also had things like the Charterists movement in 1828 to 1849. Those are two conflicts. I've talked about this, where the version of the military was brought on the streets, and there was a demand for reform, for democracy, and British soldiers, although it was household cavalry, they were technically ruled by the nobles, ruled by the lords. They killed British citizens. So that's what she's talking about, Peterloo.
Invasion.
No.
As an English town, we declare that we will not consent to governance that endangers our communities in response to the misinformation and propaganda disseminated by the British Broadcasting Corporation.
Disseminated. Don't read off a script. I know you're passionate, but you can condense this. Bring it down. Get it out there. Yeah. I'm not criticising her. She's speaking with passion. And when you've got women stood up doing that, the men will be driven even more, to be more protective than they are, to be more patriotic than they are. Because if the women are going to take the lead and the men are going to support them, then you've got a problem in government. You really have. Because if women are taking the lead and men have said, yeah, we're in on this, you lead, we'll follow, we'll support you, then you've got a real problem.
And others. We refuse to pay the television licence fee.
Then they'll arrest you. Civil disobedience is fine, but the government doesn't care. It'll use that. It's already done that, and it'll do it again.
Furthermore, we will not pay council tax. Yeah.
Then you'll have the bailiffs round. It's not going to serve any purpose. You don't need... It's nice sounding, but people will still pay their council tax, I promise you. I suspect she may prove me wrong, she may be steadfast in her resolve, but 90% of that crowd's either not paid their council tax, they don't care, but they're going to pay it. Property taxes, basically. It's for your municipal services, to my American friends. You pay what used to be called a poll tax. It's council tax. So your council, your police service, fire service, refuse collection, road repairs in your local area, you pay in based on the value of your property and different categorizations. And you have to pay it, because if you don't pay it, you can end up in real trouble, and you can't get rid of it by bankruptcy either. Same as HMRC, to a degree.
As non-payment of taxes has long been a legitimate form of protest in our land.
No, it was okay, that clip. I don't think that was fully representative. Let's see where it goes next.
If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos, and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too, promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to...
So when she's talking about Peterloo and the Chartist movement, that was when there was a real pushback, and there was another one in the 70s. When you get external chaos that allows the government to detract people from what the real issue is, in other words, if people are not paying council tax, if people are not doing this, people are doing that, and you're getting civil, it allows the government to say, well, they're not organised, they're not political, they're not law-abiding citizens, why should we listen to them? And now I know that may sound a bit cynical of me, but that's what any government would want. If I've got a real issue that's a thorn in my side and I'm losing, and then you all do lots of different things that I'm allowed to say, well, yeah, but you're not obeying the law, and that's what I'm going to do, and you're not obeying the law, and this group's not obeying the law, why should I listen to them? This is not democracy, you're not allowed to break the law. They'll just say that, and they'll use it to counter-strike, as I would. That's what I would do. Yeah, 100% I would do that. All day long I would do that. What else caught my eye? Now, this guy I like a lot. This is Carl Benjamin. Akkad Daily Sargon of Akkad. He's been around a long time, and he's very astute. Very, very, very... He's a great communicator. A beautiful communicator. And generally speaking, there's a couple of things with Victoria Derbyshire I didn't agree on what the outcome out. There was a few things that went on a while ago. I thought, oh, he's not getting through this so well. But outside of that, I know he ran for MEP, but even if you don't agree with what he's saying is all backed up. His absolute recall is great. His research is great. And I like it when he does these sound bites, because I haven't seen this one, obviously, but I'll get some information that I know he'll be quoting all the different sources, but it's still up to me to be informed, not enraged. Yeah, he helps me stay informed. I like him a lot. He hasn't got a suit on, so he must be somewhere, and he's got the flag up. So quite often he'll have a shirt and tie on, very proper. And he lost a lot of weight as well, got himself healthy.
It really is all starting to come to a head now. It's just undeniable at this point that the state itself is set against the British people and in favour of foreigners who break into our country. And not just the ones that break into our country, the ones that it, against our democratic will, has said in their millions that they can come and settle in this country. Nobody wanted this. Nobody asked for any of this. This was done completely... I mean, every manifesto of every party that's won for the last, 50 years
yeah.
has said, yeah, no, we're not going to have immigration. We're going to reduce immigration. We're going to get immigration down to the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
We're going to make sure immigration is manageable. It has not happened.
He's right there. Every 14 years and 10 years of Labour, 14 years of a Conservative government. It's just been... And it's turned out to be a creeping malignancy. And I say that because it's turned out that it hasn't done good for the country. And in fact, the country's in a position where there's conflict political, there's conflict socially, something they've allowed to happen. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you want to look at the nuance of immigration and different case-by-case scenarios, yeah, okay, I'll take all of that on board. But he's right, for 50 years. And I know he's been talking about it a long time. And no matter what, even if you look at this from a left-wing perspective, they're still going to be at real radical loggerheads with anyone who disagrees with them. So it doesn't matter. It's not just the right wing. It's not just the right wing that's enraged. The left wing's enraged that the right wing are enraged, and
And so now the country is just awash with strangers. And this is why Keir Starmer was like, yeah, well, we are risking turning into an island of strangers. Like, yeah, I know, because I go...
Which he absolutely retracted. When he said it, he then had to PR spin it. He said what did he say? I'm pretty sure I'm right. He said he hadn't proofread the speech and he read it from the prompter, and that's not what he meant. It's exactly what was meant by the speechwriter, though. I think the speechwriter gets a free drink on the house.
Go out into my local town that just 5 years ago wasn't like this. It was a normal English town, and now it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy how just anyone from anywhere is allowed to come and live here, and we have to pay for the privilege. This, of course, has all sparked this latest sort of confrontation has been sparked by the court's decision about the asylum seekers staying in the Epping Hotel, which is, again, just mad, actually. If you just think about it from, a perspective that isn't invested in the conflict, you think, hang on, why would they be doing this? So, of course, the local council in Epping applied for an injunction to get the asylum seekers, 138 of them, removed from the Bell Hotel in Epping because a couple of them had sexually assaulted kids. And the government...
Allegedly, Carl, come on.
...decided to appeal this on specific grounds. They actually have... the government lawyers say it was...
Now, there's something come out in news today. So the appeal was made, and the judge who allowed the appeal, he's been referred by a barrister to sort of ethics because he's got links, and that'll all come out in news. I'll be looking out for that. So in other words, there might be a political mismatch between a bias, an unfair bias by that judge. That's what I've read today. Whether it's true or not, it's not for me to decide. It's just what I think came out in the news today. So this story has got another story brewing behind it. So the appeal itself that was allowed has got another spin-off story from it. It's just every day, every minute of the day on the news is this.
Relevant public interests in play are not equal. and are fundamentally different in nature. Yeah, there's a bunch of very suspect men that we have to pay to house here, and then you've got the normal people of Epping who are worried that these men are going to do something to their children. So yeah, you're right, they're not equal. Like, one side shouldn't even be in the country, and the other side is right by default. So weird how the government's like, yeah, no, this is a problem. Because, and this is the thing, they realised that, oh wait, there will be a wave of legal challenges from other councils.
I'll say it again, government's got a real problem because women are taken to the street, mums, daughters, sisters, grandmothers. Women are saying, this is wrong, this is dangerous. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm only commenting what they're saying. Women are saying this is wrong, this is dangerous, they're peacefully protesting. And the men are saying, oh, hang on, these are our daughters, our wives, our girlfriends, and I'm going to support them, and that support will build and build and build. When women have an issue that is right, and they lead from the front, and men join in or don't get in the way, government's got a real problem on its hands. It's got a PR problem, huge PR problem, and a political problem, because the consensus is going to fall with the women, not on the left either. Those who are challenging, and some of them will be very liberal, empathetically they'll be very liberal, but they're not. This is about women protecting children. It's not, that's what it's primarily about, and themselves. And once you bring that into the equation, then you've got a real PR problem. How do you spin your way out of that? How do you demonize those women who are saying, I want to protect my 12-year-old daughter. I want to protect my 15-year-old sister. You've got a real problem. Now, whether anyone agrees with that or not, doesn't matter. You've got a real problem. Real problem.
Over the use of hotels in their area, if Epping's victory would set a precedent. So they know, all right, our intention to bring in loads of foreign men will be made much more difficult if we allow this. And so, okay, what a shock.
Goes back to the planning, because every council in the country, every municipal, as you guys would call them in America, have you seen this? Everyone that has got a huge outcry saying you can't do this, they're all fearing for the political future, and there'll be some that just think they're in the right by saying you can't do this via planning permission, we're going to move you out. Well, the government says, well, we're going to put 35,000 people, and the other 35,000 that are going to come by the end of the year, where we're going to put those. It's a real problem. This, I think, is going to be set for October. It's going to be a hell of a day. Hell of a day. Because either way, the outcome is going to be a problem. If the High Court says appeal denied, then the government's got real problems. If the High Court says appeal upheld, then the government's got real problems, because there's going to be a continuation. So either way, it's a lose-lose. It's just an immediate breathing space for a government that says, well, we can just use more hotels and more hotels. And then these £1.5 million houses the government has promised to build, that was in the government manifesto. They've been talking about it a lot. It's too much. It's just too much. Forget the people. Just the physical capacity is too much.
What a shock. Lord Justice Bean at the High Court said the High Court ruling by Mr. Justice Eyre failed to consider the challenges of relocating the migrants. Well, I'm sorry, how's that our problem? Deport them. They shouldn't be here. The judge's approach ignores the obvious consequence that the closure of one site's capacity means capacity needs to be identified elsewhere in the system.
So the justice is just saying what the government... It's not saying what the government wants to say, but it's actually an absolute mirror of what the government's argument is, which is, I find, difficult to accept.
Be bad. Deport them. They shouldn't be here.
Because it's based on the law, not on feelings or projection.
And yeah, it does look like the rights of the illegal immigrant.
I talked about the black belt barrister. Go look him up, guys. He really explains the legality, not whether it's illegal. He talks about the law as it sits and how the law should address an issue. And he talks about it in great depth. It's really good. Black belt barrister in the UK. He's really, really good. Daniel Shensmith is really good. I've watched him for a long time. I'll go there and listen to, not to get direction, but just to get grounded. You know, just to say, okay, how does a legal mind address this with a social conscience, which he has. Yeah.
immigrants are being put above the rights of the British people. That's entirely true. That is what it looks like. And it seems to be the actual case of the matter. Like, the actual facts seem to be that that's what they're doing. And again, you've got to remember, these aren't exactly good guys as far as we can tell. But Lord Bean said that this was worrying because if an outbreak of protest enhances a case, this runs the risk of acting as an impetus for further protests, some of which may be disorderly around asylum accommodation. There's a risk of encouraging lawlessness. Oh yeah, I'm sure that telling people, no, you have to have the rapists in your community within walking distance of a school is definitely not going to cause any protest. I mean, that's what's been causing the protests so far, but I'm absolutely certain.
So has the law got it wrong? I don't know. I'm not a legal mind. But it's a lose-lose.
That you telling everyone to shut up and suck it up is definitely going to stop the protests.
No.
And this is genuinely what they're worried about. And unsurprisingly, it's what they're worried about, because I think it's going to continue to happen. In fact, we know it is. It's already happening. But this is just one of those things where you can't help but feel that when they say it's not equal, they're not wrong. But the problem is the locus of their attention, right? So as you can see, Piers Riley Smith for Somani Hotels, they own the Bell Hotel, said this risks precedent being set. Well,
yes.
Yeah, but obviously you'd be against it because the government is bribing you, paying you to host migrants in the hotels. So why would we listen to you? Obviously you're going to be like, oh no, we should definitely...
Not going to listen to big business telling me it's not fair at all. Why he just carries no credence for me whatsoever. None.
You have the migrants in our hotel because ka-ching. Like, and again, the argument, there's no evidence exactly where they'd go if the judge's decision was not overturned. And they overlooked the hardship the migrants would face. I don't care. I'm not overlooking it. I don't care. I mean, personally, I'm in favour of corporal punishment for them breaking into our country. Right? I'm in favour of the state literally arresting them, putting them in stocks, and having them flogged, and then deported back to wherever they've come from.
What I find interesting is that Carl's able to say these things on the internet. So, credit to YouTube. Oh, hi, Sophie. Can you... how are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm just getting on a mini rant. I'm looking at the story from a political commentator talking about immigration, but I'm doing okay. You? Okay. So, let me pull that back to what Carl was saying.
Would face. I don't care. I'm not overlooking it. I don't care. I mean, personally, I'm in...
It's only my second stream. So I'm kind of getting used to flicking between the buttons. But I've looked at a TV show as well. So I don't just do politics here, by the way, Sophie. I literally will cover lots of things. I can't stream music, but I'll talk about bands that influenced me when I was 17. I was talking earlier about things my dad taught me when I was a kid. You know, it's just me having a good chance to talk. And I get lost. Yeah, it's only my second... I mean, I've been on YouTube like 4 years now with a music channel, but I keep that separate from this. So this is kind of my second stream and built it up, and I do it at 10 o'clock at night. Thank you. So I'm just getting into the story now. This is Carl Benjamin, Saga Nabakat, political commentator, talking about immigration issues in the UK. I'm not really talking about immigration itself. I'm talking about what I think the ramifications are, whether we like it or not. Do you know what it is, Sophie? I'd love to say yes, but no, because it's not that I'm not a gamer, so I'm rubbish at it. I mean, you'd have to go back to, I don't know how old you are, I'm not going to ask you, but I did something about gaming, the first Atari gaming streamer, which was the tennis game and the duck shooter back in 76. And I played all those games that became, Galaxy Wars and Space Invaders and all of that. But then I joined the army and we had no time for games. There was none of that. So I love watching Asmongold when he streams games. You probably know Asmon is, right? And I'm not really a gamer, but I'll watch him when he does streaming because I just admire the skills that a gamer's got. But no, I'm not a gamer, unfortunately. And I'd be lying to you said about I've talked about games on my other channel that I've got fascinated with when I was 14, 15 and 16. But no.
Favour of corporal punishment for them breaking into our country. Right, I'm in favour of the state literally arresting them, putting them in stocks, and having them flogged, and then deported back to wherever they're.
Yeah, Carl, you can't. I'm from the UK. I'll tell you, I'll stop this. So, literally, if you look at the UK, are you a Brit? Are you American? What are you, Soph? What are you? I'm guessing you're asking, so you're not British. So the UK, Ireland, obviously, you've got. Yeah, I'm from the northeast of it, on the coast. So I live right on what's called the Northumberland coast. Yeah, and I've born and bred here. Moved away when I was a soldier. Lived around the world, travelled around the world, but came back home in 2020 in COVID. You're from Virginia. Excellent. Now, so where have I been to in the States? Let me tell you where I've been to. My first trip to the States was in 2009. I went to New York. And then after that, I had 2 weeks in San Diego, 2 weeks in New Orleans, 2 weeks in Vegas, 2 weeks, I went to Pebble Beach, had lunch and stayed on there at Pebble Beach. San Francisco, which scared the life out of me. I've had a friend who went to Virginia for the horse. They were a jockey, and they were a stable hand, and they moved out there. I'm probably getting my geography wrong, but they moved to, I don't know, Kentucky. I know it's a different area, but around that area. So yes, Virginia. I've never been able to get that inland. I've always wanted to go to like North Carolina. I've wanted to go to Nashville and sort of that Tennessee area. I've always wanted to get up to Oregon, to New England in the fall. Maybe I'll get there next year, but I have a deep fascination with America. And every American I've ever met, Americans I've served with as a soldier. So yeah, I'm glad to see someone from where I haven't been to in America. You'll have to tell me a bit about Virginia. Yeah, it's an old state. You love to play Fortnite. There's got to be some Fortnite guys on here. Surely there's got to be some Fortnite guys on here for you. Yeah. I just haven't got the dexterity. I just can't do it. I've not got the patience. I would be, as Asmund says, I'd be moulding out. I would be headbutting the table, yeah, because I can't do them. Now, some strategy games, I can play chess. I love chess, but I just can't do those games that require intense concentration and intense dexterity. My little hands won't do it. Yeah. So let me just get back to this. I've got one eye on the chat.
Punishment for them breaking into our country. Right, I'm in favour of the state literally arresting them, putting them in stocks, and having them flogged, and then deported back to wherever they've come from.
Carl, you wouldn't have got away with that, but when President Trump and J.D. Vance have been really hammering the Brits on free speech, I think YouTube's gone, okay, our paymasters are really in the US. There's the Safety Online Act, but we're going to let you speak. I don't think you'd have got away with that. It's not inciting violence, it's hyperbolic statement, but you wouldn't have got away with that.
Temerity of breaking into our country and then attacking our children, right? The idea that I'm in favour of them suffering hardship, like massive amounts of hardship, as punishment for what they have done to us and the people of Epping. Right? I am in favour of hardship.
Ooh.
So it's really weird argument, frankly. But yeah, the protests have already happened. There was a woman here who went up to the what was it?
But it's not. Virginia's inland, right? It's not on the east or west coast. It's more central south. Or have I got my geography wrong? Yeah, the mountains. Yeah. I'll have to get there. But I live on the coastline. It's in the East Coast. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
The Epping Forest District Council building, put up a British flag, and she was arrested. Now, of course, they didn't do that with the Palestine flags on our war monuments and things like that. So, again...
I'm going to show my ignorance here. How far are you from Kentucky, then? No need to be sorry. You can't hear me. So my volume isn't good. Please repeat. Oh, sorry. I was just trying to get the sort of how far you are from Kentucky and stuff like that. You have a connection issue with the internet to hear me. Okay. I'll keep an eye on it and see what you say, Soph.
Again, it shows you where the locus of concern is, right? Because what does putting up a flag mean? A flag is a symbol. A flag is an embodied representation of something else. When you put up a flag, you are saying, this...
You can, of course you can. Yeah, you can ask me something. Doesn't mean I'll answer you, though. Depends what the question is. I don't know what the question is yet. You've got me filled with anticipation.
Territory is under the jurisdiction of the people and moral system it represents. And so when you put up the Palestine flag, that's being used as an embodiment of foreign people and the moral system of leftism, the moral system of extreme radical leftism, to say, no, this when you see this flag...
That's a kind offer, but my brother's a graphic designer, and I like to keep things... It's not that I don't sew things like logos and banners. If you look at mine, I've actually put a photo up from San Diego. If I had a bigger stream or a bigger desire, I would love to. But it's not something I actually need. But you can show me it. I'm always keen to see people's work.
It is a representation of the moral jurisdiction of radical left-wing lawyers, radical left-wing politicians, and radical left-wing activists, and the foreign client groups that they represent. When you see the British flag, or more pertinently the flag of St. George, what that states is this is under the moral and legal jurisdiction of the British people, and in the case of England, the English people, and it is their interests, their rights that are being upheld, their claim to the country that is being represented in the flag. That's why they arrested the mother of Epping, and that's why they didn't arrest the Palestinians. The police know which side they are on. They are the police of tolerance and diversity. They are the police of the international multiculti global order. That's what they are here to defend. And that's why they have such trouble recruiting. That's why they have such trouble retaining police officers. That's why their job conditions are so difficult. They are, in effect, an army of occupation. They are here to protect an imposed globalist order that people never voted for, don't want, and don't support. And so no wonder it's so difficult for them to keep and maintain recruits. No wonder there's so much resistance and friction between the police and the communities they are supposed to police. I remember this is meant to all be done by consent, but people just don't consent anymore.
That's the Pelian concept, policing by consent. I don't think, and they still have that guide to policing, but you could argue it's gone. I don't know. I don't know enough about the police. I don't interact with the police because I'm not a criminal, and I don't call the police because I've not had a crime committed against me. And I think Carl will be speaking with greater depth than I do when he says this, but it's something I'll need to go away and find out more about myself.
People just don't want this. Anyway, you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, what are you talking about? What proof do you have that these judges are far left and that this is a liberal international order? Well, quite a lot, actually. And this is a remarkable article on Sky News. Now, Sky News used to...
I talked about this. This is the judge. Politically, the two judges involved in that migrant and who they sided with. Okay. There's been a referral by a barrister to sort of ethics, the bar, what my American friends would call the bar. So let's see what Carl's got to say, because I didn't see the full story. I'm glad he's pulled it up.
To be a part. And I would have always considered Sky News one of the core mouthpieces of the global liberal international order, the leftist international order. And yet they're doing surprisingly patriotic work, which I didn't see coming. They've published this article, political leanings of the two judges involved in the Epping Migrant Hotel case and who they sided with. Now, you've got...
With Sky, even the broken clocks right twice a day.
Lord Justice Bean is the ex-treasurer of the Society of Labour Lawyers and used to chair the Fabian Society.
Oh, God, Fabian Society. Here we go, Carl. Tell us all about it, because I know.
Go and look up the logo of the Fabian Society. Sorry, the former logo of Fabian Society. It was a... which, of course, is affiliated to the Labour Party. I mean, Sadiq Khan was a chair of the Fabian Society. Loads of them are. And then so Stephen Eyre was a Tory parliamentary candidate. So you can see how the judges are falling on this. One judge is a radical left-wing Labour Fabian.
I think I saw something with Michael Malice on Heretics with Andrew Gold where they talked about the Fabian Society, but I knew about them anyway. Not a good society if you look at the history of it overall.
And the other is a conservative, so he's concerned about the integrity and the continuation of the country. And so you can see this is explicitly political. There is a political war going on in the judiciary, and a bunch of leftist judges are making them...
If you've got an IG link, so if you just put it in there and I'll have a look later. Yeah. I literally just do this, and I don't have a presence on social media really other than my YouTube channel,
Their judgments and their decisions, and so basically we have to hope that the last analysis is done, the last judgment is made by a conservative justice. We just have to hope that that's the case, because otherwise we get, and let's be real, I think the system is just going to essentially sort of not rig it, but be structured in such a way that the highest level of judges is definitely going to be the international lib types, and they're going to rule in favour of the foreigners. And they do it every time. It's not an accident that this happens. This is just the way the system is set up. And this is, again, the purpose of the system is what it does. This is how it
change the system.
Operates for a reason. This is the two-tier nature of the system. It is designed to extract wealth, extract power, extract resources, extract anything that it needs, manpower, out of the native population of this country, and then use those resources, use that power, use that money in order to facilitate the plantation of this country with foreign colonies. And it doesn't matter how much you object to that. They will just arrest you. They will just use the system against you, make their rulings against you, regardless of how ridiculous it looks, regardless of the fact that they know that this is going to cause protests, way more protests.
Well, I said this when the thank you. Well, I said when the maternity clip about people refusing to pay taxes, people refusing, saying they're not going to pay council tax or TV licenses, still use every element of the law to distract from the laws that they're making we don't like.
Like it strikes me that actually conceding on these points would have been more sensible, but no, now it's being drawn to a close. It's being, pushed to a head on all of this, on this particular issue. It's like, okay, well, I mean, the people of Epping have nowhere else to go. The people of Britain have nowhere else to go. The foreigners you're bringing in absolutely do have somewhere else to go. And at some point, it looks to me like the situation will become so dire and untenable that it'll just be not worth their time to stay here. And then we will be left with our treacherous judges, our treacherous politicians, our treacherous police officers, and they won't even have the foreign constituencies to back them up. Anyway, you've got things like this, which is just crazy. Obviously this hotel owner is the crazy one, but it's crazy how this is the situation that we're in, right? As you can see, James here, a boutique hotel owner in Cambridgeshire has rejected a £3 million 7-year contract to house migrants, saying it would harm the village, and refused to be part of the arrogant government's asylum system. What an absolute patriot. If you're ever in Cambridge, go and stay at Willingham House. We have to absolutely support the patriotic people of this country who refuse to be bribed by the state.
I think I'll go there. I like Cambridgeshire.
And they refuse to take part in the replacement of the British population. They refuse to be a part of this system because this system is going to age badly. When it comes to the end of all of this, people are going to be like, wow, you were complicit in this. I mean, for example, and Elon's been making a lot of noise on this recently, which is absolutely superb. The government in Britain is bribing owners with multi-million pounds for 7-year contracts to house illegals. Their goal is obviously to amplify and extend the illegal migrant tidal wave, not reduce it. Anyone saying otherwise is a liar. Thankfully, this good man rejected the bribe. Completely true. Completely true. This is an incentive to get more illegals into the country because, frankly, they have decided that the
and governments, I'm seeing your chat, so the government's just going to say that in 7 years it'll have eradicated the problem. It'll have reduced it by so many numbers that this, whilst it looks permanent, is a prolonged temporary measure to meet the crisis that they never formed over the last 14 years, the one that they inherited, that they've started to put pressure on busting the gangs in different countries. You're going to hear all that rhetoric, but you could argue Elon's 100% right.
Native constituency is an unwinnable battlefield at this point. They can't politically compete with the natives, so now they have to start courting foreigners. And remember that they turned one of these hotel owners into a billionaire doing this. They turned him into a billionaire. Like, so much of your money has been funneled into Graham King's pockets, and that smug, smirking traitor. You got to ask yourself, well, how long is this going to last, Graham?
Well, it's nice to see Carl's not pulling his punches. But to become a billionaire, yeah. There's a lot of people going to get rich. Change the system.
And what happens when the actual bill comes due? It really is.
now I know I didn't have his shirt and tie on. Because he's in full working class mode there. Got a lot of time for him. I think what he's laid out there, you could argue, justifiably so, has been played out in front of you in real actions, in real time. Yeah. So, it's coming up to 10:15. I'm going to build these streams over every night, so I get better at it. It's quite tiring at the beginning. Not tiring, because I've had a full day at work. I'll be on again tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and then I'm going to do Sunday night. So my aim is to get 3 to 4 streams, build it up to 2 and 3 hours, get better at this. Yeah. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you come and catch me live. I've got my link in my bio for my YouTube channel. I love this. Till next time, guys. Take care.